Graduation. This is probably a very familiar picture for a lot of us. You probably have something that looks very similar, hopefully with different people. That would be a little creepy if you had my graduation pictures. But this was a time of universal celebration for a lot of us. It was a time that we could set aside those worries and cares of high school life and move onwards and upwards to college. And as we accepted that diploma, we also accepted a whole new set of worries. Worries about, how am I going to handle my course load? Will I fail Chem 110? And is my roommate going to be like something out of a horror film? And those are all very real worries that we had. Now, something that probably not a lot of us were worrying about would have been something like this, or this, or this. Marriage. Who you were going to marry, when you were going to get married, it was probably the last thing on your already stressed and strained brain. And that is normal for us now, but it didn't used to be. Here I am with my grandfather, because he's adorable, and at my graduation. Now, here my grandfather is with my grandma, when they were the same age that a lot of us are now. The difference is that they were already married and had a child at this age. Now that's different for a lot of us, and we can see just in my family how the marriage age has gotten pushed back. But we can also see with data that right now the age that most women are getting married is 25.8, and for men is 28.3. But in the 1960s, those medians would have looked a little bit more like there, 20.3 for women and 22.8 for men. That's an average of 5 additional years that we're spending in our lives before we get married. So once I identified this shift, I wanted to know what are some causes behind it, what's driving it. And one of the first things I looked to was that more people are going to college. That was the natural first inclination I had. As I started to do some more research, I found that there are 2 other causes that have a lot of evidence supporting them, and those are the 2 forces that I want to look at today. The first of which is this question of, will you marry me? Very cute, in a lot of instances is now being prefaced by another question. Will you move in with me? More and more people are living together before they get married. Over 6 years, from 1994 to 2002, the amount of unwed couples living together rose by 50% over 6 years. So we can see that more and more people are spending time in this purgatory stage between dating and marriage, where they get to play house without actually making the true commitment, walking down the aisle and saying I do. And because of that, the age that they're making that jump is getting pushed back. Now the next thing that I identified as being a factor is we've been seeing a lot less of this. This is a shotgun wedding, and a lot more of scenes like this. Having children outside of marriage, in a lot of cases, is being normalized and sometimes even glamorized in television shows. And it's become more normal and acceptable for people to have children outside of marriage. In 1950, only 4% of kids were born to unwed couples. In 2003, this rose to 35%. And because of this, people don't view marriage and children as necessarily being connected anymore. You don't have to get married to have kids, and also, if you knock the girl up, you don't have to marry her as a result of that. And because of this, less and less people are getting married. Well, they're getting married later. And once I identified this, then the next question I was led to ask was, what ties those 2 things together? What do they have in common? And it didn't take too long to realize that sex. Having sex before marriage, in both of those cases it's related to, one case requires premarital sexual relations. And as that's become more normal, we've seen its effect on our institution of marriage. How this shift affects me is, once I identified this, true love waits. And when a lot of cynics see that question, they want to ask, does anyone really do that anymore? I want to say yes. People still do that. I have a ring on my finger that says love waits. It's a promise that I've made that I intend to keep. I don't think it's going to be easy. I know it's not normal, but it's something in my life that it's a promise I've made. And this shift has had an effect on me because I am committed to the man that I intend to marry as soon as I can. But that's not normal. Society has gone away from that, and I've been finding myself constrained by the standards that have been set by the very thing that I'm avoiding. So this shift has had a profound effect on my life, and I'd like to say that if the premarital relations that have been driving cohabitation and having children outside of wedlock are a key root cause behind the shift in the marriage age, I'm proud to defy the paradigm. Thank you.